Hey guys, welcome in to College SportsCast, the Big Blue HoopsCast. I've got John Hammonds here with me, and this is episode 4 of the Big Blue HoopsCast. What's up, Hammonds?
What's up, man?
You been watching the Cats?
Yeah, it's been are you there?
I am.
Hold on a minute. I think I've lost contact with you somewhere. There we are. Got too many things opened up. I've been watching Kentucky, Been a fun week for Kentucky women's last couple of weeks actually for the women's and men's team. Kentucky got the big
Both.
win over
Yeah,
Kentucky
absolutely.
got the big win over Duke in the men's side. Then the girls ended up getting the big win over Louisville in the women's side on the rivalry game last Saturday. So big week for Coach Kenny Brooks and Coach Mark Pope.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So if you're on Facebook with us, you can help support us by sending stars, or you can subscribe to our page now. It's only 99 cents a month. It does give you your own subscribers page, and I do post things on that, and we would appreciate it. It does help us earn a little bit of money to continue to make content for you guys. So, all right, with that said, we are here to do the Big Blue Hoops Cast episode 4. We are in week 13, season 3, and we are featured writers now with Stadium Rant and on the Real Fresh channel and WSBN TV channel 30. And then we've got some little sponsors and things there for you that you can. We do this. All right. We are going to start with the women's. This week, well, let's start with Saturday. Saturday was a big day for the women. We haven't done one of these since then. I was at the game and got to see a full house. It was great to see a full crowd, nearly 6,500 people there. It was a great. You got me?
Yeah, you just kind of going. Great win for Kentucky women's basketball over Louisville. They had, I think, 9 lead changes in this game. He said, when you can win while you learn, that's a really good thing because it
We'll get to the men
in there, his
style
of play.
Slow your roll, Madeline.
Beating a team of Louisville's caliber is a sign Kentucky's already trending upward after the last couple of seasons that they've had. The thing about Kenny Brooks,
it's the first time the Kentucky women's have beaten Louisville in 7 tries.
Yeah.
8 tries. They'd lost 7 in a row.
8 tries, yeah. They brought in Kenny Brooks for this reason. He had a Final Four appearance. He won an ACC regular season title, and he won an ACC tournament crown all in the past 2 years. He also brought a lot of talent with him. Georgia Moore, she's an All-American point guard. Clara Strack, she's a very good center in the middle. You put Lexi Blue, Amelia Hassett, Clara Silva. This is a team that can compete at the next level.
You muted for some reason, John. I'm not sure. There you
My
go.
bad. He's brought in Georgia Moore, Clara Strack. He's brought in all these great players from Virginia Tech that he had when he was there. They won like I said, they won an ACC championship crown. They won ACC regular season. They went to a Final Four. There's a big culture change here in Lexington with Kenny Brooks, and I think you're seeing that kind of take off with a win of this magnitude against a team like Louisville. Even though Louisville is not the Louisville that we've seen recently, it's still a really good Louisville team because they're really great in college basketball, women's college basketball. They've been in the mix the last 5-10 years. Coach Waltz always has them
Oh yeah,
up there at the top. He had them in Elite Eights.
Tiani Key in this game. Tiani Key played really great. Had 17 points and 9 rebounds against Louisville, and of course Georgia Moore had 19 points and 9 assists in this game. And Deja Lawrence has been playing well in this game. Kenny Brooks went with his starters pretty much the entire second half and overtime. Georgia Moore played 45 minutes. She never came out of the game in this Louisville game. And not once. She never come out for a breather, nothing. She played 45 minutes. I'm not sure what's going on with Hammonds, but it just kicked him out. Says his mic's not connected. All right. But I'll get him back here in a few minutes. Says his mic's not connected for some reason. All right. But, so the girls have been playing really well. They come back. They come from behind in this game late in the third quarter. They were down as much as 7 in the third quarter. Amari Berry buried 3 3-pointers in a row in this game and put them up 7. And Kentucky had to fight, to get back in this game with Louisville in the third quarter. And they overcome a lot and tied the game up. They had a chance, honestly, to win and missed 2 free throws late in regulation.
Yeah,
but in overtime,
to me,
they pretty much controlled the game.
And another thing to me, it seemed like every time Louisville had an answer, Kentucky come back and they made a punch. Kentucky was ready for that punch every single time. And to me, that shows the capabilities of this Kentucky women's team. Coach Brooks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've been doing really well.
Has a big pedigree.
And after this win, the Kentucky women made a move this week as well in the AP poll. They went up 5 spots to number 15 in the country. After the Louisville win here, Louisville was ranked 18th in the AP poll last week, and Kentucky jumped 5 spots to 15. Pretty big jump move for them.
Pretty big jump. I thought they might could have slid down to maybe 12 or 11, but now I will say that I felt like Louisville dropping to 25th. Even though we're rivals, me and you talked about this. The win against Kentucky.
Yeah, I think it was a little much. But they
I mean,
were 2-2. They had already lost to UCLA, but UCLA is a top 5 team.
yeah, I mean, I felt like that was a little too much, but maybe that was me. That's going to be a good win for Kentucky, and it's going to look good on Louisville's resume when they get down the road and possibly when they get ready to play the tournament. It's not going to be one of those wins that they're going to look or losses they're going to look back on and say, well, you know what, it maybe knocked us out, because Kentucky's a really good basketball team.
Oh, yeah. And then the women had a very quick turnaround. They played late Saturday night. They turned around and played kind of early on Monday night, and they kind of struggled in this game, had to come from behind. This Purdue Fort Wayne team had a couple of girls that could just score. I mean, one could really shoot, and one could get to the basket and create some space and get a shot off.
Yeah, and I felt like Clara Stack had a big moment in this, had some big plays in this game. Down in the third and fourth quarter, she helped, I felt like, put that game away. Now, Georgia Moore, she kind of had some moments where she got kind of careless with the basketball at times.
Second half, she had 20 points in the second half.
Yeah. But, you know, you're going to have games like this where you win big games like the Louisville game, and then you turn around and you face a team like Purdue Fort Wayne. It's just going to be like that. There's going to be things that happen like that when you have those turnaround games like that, which, you know, we've seen it with the men's side.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I want to – so with Bill here, he's asking, do I think depth will be an issue with the ladies? Here's the deal. So far, Bill, he's not going very deep with his bench. I think it's a trust issue with Kim. I do believe that he is planning on trying to build a few more pieces off that bench. And I thought Cassidy Rowe played really well off the bench in this Purdue Fort Wayne game. She hit a couple of big threes, had 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and I thought she played really well in this Purdue Fort Wayne game. And she hit a big shot in the fourth quarter to kind of extend the lead for them. And I thought she played really well. So give it a little time here, Bill. I think you will see the depth in this team extend out to about 9. And he's playing basically about 7 right now. But I think it's going to – because Silva's going to play more. I think Lexi Blue will play more. I think Sanaya Tyler will eventually play a little more on this team as well. But we'll see. All right. I have a couple of videos here with the Purdue Fort Wayne game that I want to get into. I talked about Cassidy Rowe, and I've got to play this video. This is from Kentucky Athletics. This was post-game press conference. Coach Kenny Brooks talking about Cassidy Rowe.
I'm really proud of Cassidy. Cassidy is Kentucky's favorite child, and her popularity is well-deserved. You know, she's a great kid. The way she's handled everything has been tremendous. You know, I think she likes what's going on here. She's enjoying playing basketball, and it's just really fun. This is what you do it for. It's why you coach college basketball. It's because of opportunities like both of these young ladies right here. They just want to work hard. They just want to win, and they want to win. And Cassidy was waiting for her time, and Cassidy is building trust with me.
So that gives you a little insight into Coach Brooks' thoughts on Cassidy Rowe. I thought it was pretty nice, pretty touching, to be honest with you. That little clip there at the post-game press conference here. And Cassidy played really well, played 29 minutes off the bench for this team against Purdue Fort Wayne. Had 3 steals, had a block shot. Y'all, she's 5'6". 5'5", maybe. You know, so I thought she did really well. John, what'd you think about that clip?
I thought it's pretty neat. You know, he's like I said, he's a player's coach. He knows how to get it out of them. You know, Kentucky's going to be blessed to have a guy of Kenny Brooks' stature at the helm for the next few seasons, even more than that. He knows how to coach. You know, if he can coach in the ACC and compete with the teams of North Carolina, Duke, and many of those, he's going to do just fine in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. All right, so one player that is not getting a lot of pub, but I'm going to tell you, the last two games, the Louisville and this Purdue-Fort Wayne game, Deja Lawrence has carried this team. Deja Lawrence carried this team in the first half when they weren't playing good and behind. And she was 5 for 5 in the first quarter, 4 for 4 from the three-point line. She had 14 points in the first quarter. And I'm going to give her a little bit of pub here. Her nickname is D-Law, Deja Lawrence. So here's a little clip of D-Law.
That's a young lady that has come on so big for Kentucky as of late. An emotional leader, a vocal leader.
Oh, Lawrence, nice crossover. Pulls up and puts it in. Over to Lawrence. She will try to match a three, and she does. Big shot by Deja Lawrence. Deja Lawrence, she's hot. 15 for her. She'll fire from three, and it's good. Big time three-pointer. Open three for Lawrence. On the way, and it's good.
Georgia Amoore getting to the hot hand. Deja Lawrence absolutely feeling.
All right, guys, that was Deja Lawrence. If you want to call her D-Law, you can call her D-Law. That's what UK calls her a lot in these videos and stuff. She is a transfer from Charlotte, and she filled it up there last year. I'm telling y'all, she carried them the other night in that first half. I think she wound up 5 of 8 from the three-point line in that game. She had 21 points in this Purdue-Fort Wayne game. And the guards are really playing well the last two games. The big girls got to come in there a little bit more. And another guard, of course, that's playing well, John, is Georgia Amoore. I got a short clip here.
What you know about me? From the elbow. Amoore step back three is good. Amoore jumper good. 4-point trip for Amoore and the Cavs.
And there's a short clip of Georgia Amoore in this game. The guards really played well. I thought Claire Strack kind of struggled a little bit in this game. Tayani Key had 12 and 10 in this game, so she was okay. They got to find some offense for Amelia Hassett. They got to run some sets and plays for her because she can fill it up if you get her some shots. And I think you're going to see Kenny Brooks kind of working towards that on this team. And then we got to get Clara Silva going. The last two, she started out great, but the last two games, in these two games that we're covering now, she really didn't play a whole lot. She's 6'7" freshman. She only played 8 minutes against Louisville and only 5 minutes here against Purdue Fort Wayne. So the players that I mentioned here and showed the clips, Deja Lawrence, John, she can get hot and she can fill it up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is one of those teams that you never know which girl is going to get you on any given night. You know, you have Clara Strack, Georgia Moore, you know, like I said, Silva when she gets going, Lawrence. I think, too, you know, as the season goes, too, I think Georgia Moore will get better as the season goes. I think she had a couple of games there where she got kind of like a daisical with the basketball in her hands. But I think that's normal, especially with the new team and such. trying to build chemistry together. And I think the more they play together and the more they get acquainted with one another, I think they'll be fine going into the Southeastern Conference play. And we got a big game coming up, Illinois. You know, I think it's Tuesday night in the Music City Local.
That's actually where I was going to go next.
Actually, they play Arizona State. It's not Illinois. They play Arizona State first.
Well, they play both.
Oh, they play both. Yeah,
they play both. So the upcoming games between now and when we will do a next Big Blue HoopsCast is the Music City Classic. This is played down in Nashville, and they play back-to-back nights. Tuesday the 26th, they play Arizona State. Little preview about them. Arizona State is 3-2 on the season as of right now. They do have a big girl that is 6'7", and they have a 6'3" girl, and then they play a bunch of guards. They basically have two girls with some size, and they play like 6 guards. They're 3-2. The first game in the Music City Classic next Tuesday night, the 26th. I think it's at 4:30 Eastern time, and it's on something called Baller TV. So if you guys know what that is, that's what it's on. But like I said, John, they're 3-2. Arizona State is. They beat SMU and Oregon State the last 2 games, and they will battle it off with the Wildcats on next Tuesday night. And then, John, on Wednesday night, we do play Illinois. Illinois is ranked. They are number 22 in the country. And they have a big girl as well. I think their girls are 6'4" and 6'3". They have a girl that's 6'3", and she averages 10.8 rebounds a game. And she's, I think their top scorer. And this Illinois team is a pretty decent team out of the Big Ten.
They are. They're an interesting watch for sure. Kentucky's going to have to bring their A game to win this game. They're going to have to, not have the silly turnovers they had in some of the other games that they've had. Because if they do in these kind of games,
way too many in the Louisville game.
If they have that like they did in the Louisville game, Illinois can take advantage of that, and Kentucky might not be as lucky as they was in the Louisville game. So, big exciting opportunity for the Kentucky women. I think as the season goes, you're going to see this team, like I said, continue to get more chemistry, and they'll figure things out once they head into that Southeastern Conference play. I still think this is a Sweet 16 team. I think that they got the pieces to make a run. It's just going to be interesting how they match up with the teams in the SEC, because the SEC is going to be better as a whole. Even though South Carolina's down a little bit this year compared to most years, they're still South Carolina.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting how Kentucky handles that 4 through 8 gap.
They're still number one.
They're still number one. They are. That's not saying much.
Yeah.
But, it'll be interesting to see how they handle the 4 through 8 teams.
Yeah.
The 4 through 8 SEC teams, in that middle of the pack teams, how they match up against those kind of teams. And if they do really good against those, I think they'll have
a good game. It will be, but I think these 2 games coming up are going to be a pretty good test to see exactly how they'll handle some of those middle-of-the-road SEC teams.
Yeah,
these are 2 power conference teams here, and Arizona State has a girl that's averaging over 21 points a game. She's a guard. They're kind of a 2, and we're going to have to see how that goes. They're 3-2, like I said, on the season. And Illinois, John, they have 5 girls that's averaging double figures, between 10 and 15 points a game.
Like I said, Kentucky's going to have to bring it. next week.
It's going to be a test.
It's going to be a test for him.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a test. Yeah, and just so you guys know, I'm going to be there. I'm going to get to cover. I'm going to go down to Nashville. I'm going to get to be there for these 2 games. So stay on the lookout with our Twitter and with the Facebook page, and I'll give you guys some updates on how these games are going on the 26th and the 27th. All right, before we move on from the girls, from the women's team, I do want to mention that I'm now writing articles with Stadium Rant. And this week I have 2 Kentucky women's basketball articles up. Monday, I wrote an article on Kentucky women's basketball that is basically about recruiting commitments and the Louisville win. And then today I wrote an article on Georgia Amore and her early impact on this Kentucky women's basketball team. And I would appreciate it, guys, if you could go to stadiumrant.com and look those articles up. The one from today should be up on the screen fairly early. The one from Monday, you might have to scroll down to the college basketball stuff before you can find it. But check those articles out. And I appreciate if you would and share and like and everything. That would be great. John, did you get a chance to see the commitments that Kenny Brooks got?
Yeah.
Last week. He got one of them on Saturday.
Yeah, Greenway.
Madden Greenway on Saturday.
If people don't know, her dad used to play in the NFL. He played for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
That's a little fact for you there. She's a fun, exciting guard. She's going to be interesting to plug into that for that guard, those guard positions coming up next year. So Kenny Brooks is still not done when it comes to recruiting. I think he'll go through the portal some. Kentucky women's basketball's future is in pretty good hands. Mitch Barnhart, when he settled down on these picks, the men's and the women's, I think he done a wonderful job.
He did a really good job.
He did, and
kudos
to
he did a really good job on both of these. And if you didn't catch it, the commitments were Kaylin Carroll, a 5-star top 15 kid out of Massachusetts. She's a 2025 kid. She'll be here next year. She's a top 15 5-star. She is she's on the watch list for the Naismith High School Player of the Year in the country. That's how good this girl is. She shot 44% from 3-point line last season. She's 6'2", and she plays on the wing, handles the ball a lot. And then Madden Greenway is a 5'8", 5'9" point guard. She's a 2026 kid, and she's borderline 4 or 5-star. But I think she's got another year. I think you give her another year. I think she's going to be a 5-star.
And I think, too,
a clear 5-star when all this is said and done.
And I think, too, what people fail to realize is him recruiting this early and getting her this early shows you how good Coach Kenny Brooks can recruit. And to get a kid that early in this cycle.
Point guards love him.
They do.
Point guards love him. Like Georgia Amore, he was a point guard. He is really, really he builds these point guards and these girls and these players, and he builds their career. And point guards love him. And Madden Greenway is going to shine for 4 years under Kenny Brooks. And Iowa's a little sad because Chad Greenway and her mother both played at Iowa. Her mother ran track, and Chad Greenway, of course, was a football player for Iowa, linebacker, went on to about 10, 11 years with Minnesota Vikings. And that's where she's from now, is Minnesota. It's where she's coming out of, Madden Greenway. But check out my articles on Stadium Rant, and soon I might get Hammonds to write in a little bit here on Stadium.
Oh my God, man!
Stadium Rant.
Of all things here, y'all. Of all things. Lucky me, right?
All right.
Lucky me.
Soon. I'm just saying.
Lucky me.
Yep. All right. So, Jerry, you said they went into double OT on the St. John's Baylor game? Wow. Okay. They were down 14 at halftime. I was ready to write Baylor off. All right. So we've already talked about the Duke game. We did a post-game show after the big Duke win last week on Tuesday night. So they did not play any other games last week. The next big thing that happened was that Kentucky moved all the way up to number 9 in the AP poll, jumped up 10 spots, Hammonds. It's actually the biggest move in the AP poll in Kentucky basketball history.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Especially in his first season. Pretty impressive.
They went from 19 to 9 after beating Duke and jumped 10 spots. The AP poll has been around since the 48-49 season, I believe. So it's the biggest jump ever by Kentucky basketball in the AP poll. Pretty impressive, to be honest with you, to make that big of a move after game 3 as the coach of Kentucky. Pope's got it going. He's doing some great things. I want to show you guys a couple of clips here. I'm going to start with the first one. He's talking about the kind of person and player that he wants to recruit at Kentucky.
So we think about, usually people that can see something outside of themselves, somebody that understands sacrifice, making something sacred by the cost of it, and so my 3 things that I always think about are sacrifice. Can they sacrifice? There's something bigger than themselves, and they don't understand a standard. Do they understand a standard? Do they have lines in their life that are like, I won't cross that line, like I won't do it? Like a boundary that is self-imposed, like, hey, I have a standard in my life, and this is the expectation. And if you find those 3 guys some way, those 3 things some way in guys, then you kind of have building blocks for somebody you think, this is a growth mindset person that we're probably going to work with really well, and they're going to fit in our system. Again, these are kind of like 30,000-foot concepts, and so getting them into like hard, fast data is complicated, and we also are changing every single day, right? We're growing, but those 3 things are things we talk about all the time. We try and diagnose and see.
Okay, Hammonds. I don't know about you, but for me, it's so refreshing to see that we are recruiting kids that have some standards, that are willing to sacrifice, that can play for the front or somebody else or another player, a teammate, and it's not me, and more some me, to be honest with you. What do you think about that clip, John?
I feel like the kid or the dummy for geniuses here, because whenever Mark Pope talks, it's like it's another level.
He's pretty brilliant. Yeah,
he's. I don't know if he's too smart for us, or if he says words.
He's pretty smart. I will say that.
Like, I mean, some of these press conferences, like he tried to break it down the other night in the Lipscomb game. There was a couple of things that he did not like, and then he did like, and he broke it down into
he talks over your head a little bit.
Yeah, and but I think it's a great thing. I'm so glad to have a coach that understands the meaning of Kentucky basketball and doesn't scream all the time. Go, 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 like nonstop. at players. He's very articulate when it comes to what he says, and it's because of Pope. Jerry Carter brought it out good. Kentucky basketball is back, and the thing about it is I know people saying, well, early in the Calipari years we all felt the same way. No, this is a different kind of feeling. The energy level, the way he comes about things, the way he brings it out. There's a different vibe here in Lexington. And
the Calipari years, early Calipari years, was more about the talent that he could bring in and put it together and win. This is more about the feel of Kentucky and what Kentucky basketball has always meant to this state and to these people. And it's that clip for me is just refreshing to know that he's looking for kids that will sacrifice, that's willing to play for somebody else, willing to play for a teammate, for others, and that kind of stuff. I just really kind of liked that clip, and I wanted to play it tonight. But we'll get into the Lipscomb game. This was Tuesday night. Isn't that right, John? Tuesday night, I think. Kentucky won 97-68 over Lipscomb. They were up 40-some points with 6-7 minutes to go. They put Noah and Perry and Chandler and a few guys in, and they wound up with a 29-point win here. But it was pretty much a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have the post-Duke letdown, against a good Bison team that is probably going to compete in the Atlantic Sun. I think they was actually picked first to finish first in their conference, which is a big thing because this could be a tournament team that we've won a game over. Kentucky started out really quick. They jumped out 20-6. They led 43-26 at halftime. They shot 54% from the floor. The biggest thing that I noticed about this game is they out-rebounded Lipscomb 43-28, and only committed 8 turnovers. I feel like they have gotten better in that regard with their turnovers. There's one thing that Pope was not happy about was he wasn't he liked the shooting from three, but he mentioned the attempts. When it comes to shooting their threes,
He wanted more attempts. Yeah,
he wanted more attempts. And I think they'll do that as time goes. I think they fell like 5 short of that mark. And he just was like,
25.
This is not who we want to be. And the third thing was, to me, Kentucky's underrated defensively. Granted, Lipscomb missed his first 13 3-point shots, which got them in a big time hole. And Acuff, their coach, Lenny Acuff, he mentioned something to me. Mentioned to the media. Let me see if I can find it. I thought it was just interesting. He was talking about Kentucky's defense. He said, "You feel like you're on a hot stove the whole possession." He said this was
defense.
He's talking about their defense, and he said that of his time at Lipscomb, this was the best Power 4, Power 5 shooting team that he's ever played against. That's a big word to use for a first year coach.
And speaking of best shooting, I gotta ask you about this. We got to bring it up. I got to talk about it. Kobe Bryant Like his shooting numbers, John, it's almost like video game, like we're playing NBA 2K or something. It's like video game numbers.
Well,
Tell the world what his shooting numbers are, because I know you know what it is.
he is shooting 15 of 19 from 3-point range.
What? 79% from 3-point line, guys. That is insane.
And another thing that really gets me
on 19 attempts, not 2.
And I'll say this, I'll go even a step further with Kobe Bryant. I don't even think it hits the rim. Like, it just goes straight in the net. Like,
I mean, we're talking NBA Jam. He's on fire. I mean, like, what in the world, man?
Yeah, it's impressive to watch. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Me and you talked about this earlier in the day. You said you was talking about how there was some comments made that Kentucky might be the best team in college basketball. Let's kind of tone it down a little bit.
I got to slow the roll on that just a little bit.
I mean, if you look around the country, Gonzaga's probably better than us at this point, just by who they've beaten.
Auburn's playing really well.
Auburn's playing really well.
Talk bad about Alabama. Kansas is right up there.
I mean, I get that everybody's excited about Kentucky basketball.
UConn, let's not forget about UConn, people.
Defending national champs 2 years. I just think
2 times.
I get that people are excited about Kentucky basketball. It's fresh, it's new, the energy's in the building. But I think we need to take a step back a little bit and realize that this team is going to have moments where they struggle. There's going to be games where they're going to lose a few games here and there. They're not going to play the best on certain nights, and there's just going to be growing pains. But I'm going to tell you something, Brad. To be 4-0 in his first year, though, right out of the gate, tells me a lot.
I'm very impressed.
Tells me a lot where they are at this point in the year and going forward.
I mean, absolutely.
Jerry, which they got some big tests.
Man. And I knew this kid was a good shooter, but a good shooter is like 55%. That's a really, really, really good shooter. All right. 15 to 19 is video game numbers. I mean, like,
I'm going to tell you something.
I don't
Brad,
know. That's just crazy.
I'm going to bring up something.
That's insane, if you ask me.
That a lot of
Josh,
people,
we beat Duke, and I like this Duke team, but I want to mention this. This Duke team, I'm not sold that this Duke team is a top 5 team. I think they're a top 10 team, maybe top 10 or 12 in the country, and I think that they are at least that, maybe better, but I'm not sold that they are a top 5 team just yet. I think some of the other teams we mentioned a few minutes ago is probably more in the top 5 range and not Duke.
By the way, just so you know,
I mean,
the Wright State team that we beat by 20 plus, they just whipped Princeton. Just so you know.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean, that kind of shows that Princeton's a good team.
Kentucky basketball.
I agree, Mike.
Their upcoming games. Well, hang on just a minute. We'll get to the upcoming games. Hang on just a minute. I want to show some highlights of the Lipscomb game. So here you guys go.
He's going to launch a three from the top. It's good. Butler, step back three. Good.
Oh, nice.
Pull up three, right side.
I like it. I like it.
Butler, top of the key. And he hits a three. Brea in the left corner. Nice. Three. Good. Saves it between his legs. Williams drives and dunks.
I want to say something. Did you see the Kobe Brea?
The behind the between the legs save.
I seen that one, but did you see the Kobe shot where he stepped back, the step back three? Like, that's elite level type stuff.
I don't even think he needs a rim, to be honest.
No, I don't think he does either. Like, I'm going to say this real quick.
He don't even need a rim.
I know a lot of people don't talk about this enough. And then we can move on, Brad. I don't think people talk about this enough, but I really like the way Ainsley Almanor does his role. The way he comes in and just does the things that he does. I mean, I'm not saying it's a big role, but it's just a role that he relinquishes and he goes out and he does what he needs to do. You know, he hits a couple threes. He hit a big three in the Duke game. He's not the big supporting cast that we got going down the stretch.
Yep.
But he's right there when it comes to hitting shots when we need them. And I think people really forget what kind of player he was at Fairleigh Dickinson. Like he was on the team that beat Purdue. He's a big part of this class and this team. And
Absolutely.
you know,
he had 93 3-pointers last year.
Yeah.
With
the thing that really gets me is the Lipscomb coach kind of brought it out, and a couple other people did too, was it's not so much the player who's going to beat you on any given night. Kentucky's got different guys that can go off, and then somebody's being kind of pressured and guarded and they're not playing the best. That leaves somebody else open. He was talking about if you even like blink for a second,
somebody else. Yeah.
If you blink for a second, a three's going up, and somebody else is going to have another shot. That's where this Kentucky team gets really dangerous. Is if one guy's not hitting, somebody else is going to be hitting. And I like this team, like you said. We can move on now to the upcoming game. Jackson State is tomorrow night.
So the upcoming games, is tomorrow night. Friday night is tomorrow night. Jackson State. Me and John was talking about earlier. They're really not that great of a team. They're 0-5 or 0-6 on the season. They've been getting beat. Like, this is a game that could get way out of hand. I'm talking 40, 50, 60-point spread here in this game. I feel like if Kentucky is really hot tomorrow night, this could be over by halftime.
Like, I'm going to give you a little thing here, Brad. So they have a matchup.
Having said that, I do want to mention that. Go ahead. I want to say that I do want to mention that Travis Perry and Trent Noah could see some extended minutes tomorrow night.
They have a matchup predictor on ESPN, and Kentucky is 99.0%, and Jackson State is 1.0. I've never seen that. Like that's how.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this team is like 0-5, 0-6.
Just leave it at that. Like
their Ken Palm rating is like 320 something.
Yeah,
it's like 320 something. Kentucky's is 19. Like, this game could get ugly really fast tomorrow night.
Yeah, especially if Kentucky's
But on the
hitting
flip side,
Sunday.
Travis Perry and Trent Noah could see some extended minutes tomorrow night, and Colin Chandler. And you could see these guys get some minutes in a real game. Maybe, they click on something and can build on something. And, maybe we start seeing a little bit more of them down the stretch. I'm not sure that Travis Perry and Trent Noah are going to play a ton of minutes this year. Kentucky fans have been spoiled for 15 years with freshmen. And this is more like what used to happen before Calipari. And I think, but in games like this tomorrow night, Travis Perry and Trent Noah should get plenty of playing time, I feel like, because we should beat this team pretty good. That's all.
And you're probably going to see the century mark broken tomorrow if Kentucky's clicking. They're probably going to drop 100. If we're being honest. So
it looks like Baylor hit a last-second buzzer beater in a double overtime to beat St. John's. All right. But I did want to, talk a little bit about that. And then I do want to go back and mention on Tuesday night next week, the 26th, we do play Western Kentucky. Now, I will be in Nashville covering the Arizona State Kentucky women's game on Tuesday night. So I'm not sure how much of this game I will actually get to see, but Western is close to me. My dad actually graduated from Western.
I'm not sure we'll have a show either.
Yeah. We probably will. So I'm not real sure what we'll do. I know on Thursday night, I plan on doing a Big Blue HoopsCast show next week because it'll be after these games.
Thursday night.
And
Thursday, Thanksgiving.
Yes. So maybe we won't. Yeah. Yep, you're right. It will be Thanksgiving. So we'll see. With Thanksgiving and covering these games, I'm not sure what we'll do next week on these games or as far as a show. But I do want to mention Western. Western is 3-2. They have a new coach. They're trying to build something. Western has some pretty good history in college basketball. I don't know that a lot of people in today's world realize that because they've been bad for 10, 15 years. But when I was growing up at one time, they were top 10 in overall wins. I think they're down to like 20 or something now. A lot of teams have passed them. But still they're inside the top 20 in overall wins. And Western has a pretty good history of good teams. And I think it's going to be interesting to see Western coming in on Tuesday night and see exactly where they are compared to what Pope's doing, to be honest with you. Because, let's be honest, Kentucky's going to win this game. For me, it's going to be kind of interesting to see where Western is compared to where Pope is.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so today they had a press conference, a pregame press conference with the Jackson State game for tomorrow night, and Pope had this.
I think our guys want to get better. We want to get better. There's these multiple races going on all at the same time, right? You're trying to win a game, and that's massively important. Win a game, and at the same time, you're trying to get better. Like, we'd like to become something. If we're not a better team in a month than we are today, then we're not getting the job done, right? And so I think our guys have grasped that, and I think they're super hungry, and and they're really curious and humble. Like, we talk about that all the time, and are just eager to get better. That doesn't guarantee perfection. It doesn't guarantee positive outcomes all the time, but I think it does sign you up for a really good trajectory where you kind of roll into every day in practice. Like today in practice, I think our guys are walking to practice like, okay, guys, we got to get better. And we're going to roll in this game tomorrow knowing that we have to find a way to win the game because that's our job, and then we have to get better, right? Both those things have to happen. And I think when you hold that focus with you, it gives you a chance to become something, and our guys want to become.
All right, John. It was a post-game or a pre-game pre-game press conference for the Jackson State game.
Like I said, he's just a genius when it comes to breaking down film, breaking down games, and breaking down opponents. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yep. I thought that was a pretty good clip, him talking about, keeping a level head and staying, minded in what you're trying to do, and trying to accomplish. So I thought that was pretty good. So, all right, guys, with all that said, I do have 2 or 3 quick things. I don't want to make a big deal out of this, either one of these, but I'm going to mention Kentucky volleyball. Sunday at Memorial Coliseum, if you're in Lexington or around Lexington, go check them out. Go to the game. Sunday, Kentucky volleyball goes for the chance, if they can win and beat Arkansas at home on Sunday, they will at least tie for an 8th consecutive SEC championship in volleyball. 8 consecutive SEC championships. It's a big game for them. Go check them out. Kentucky women's volleyball, they're having a great season. They kind of started out slow, but they've won 12 of the last 13 matches. And in the SEC, not easy to do inside the SEC. And there's a lot of good teams, and they have a chance to clinch an 8th straight SEC championship on Sunday in Memorial Coliseum. So I want to mention that. And then, of course, I got a couple of tidbits about Kentucky football. Do you guys realize that when we go to Austin to play Texas on Saturday, do you guys know that is the furthest west that Kentucky has ever played football? Ever. Austin, Texas. That is a crazy stat. Absolute mind-blowing. They've been playing football since the early 1900s. They have never been further west than Austin, Texas. This is the second trip. They went to Austin in 1951, I think.
And they also went.
And this is the second trip. They're going to tie the furthest west that they've ever played a football game.
They did play at Kyle
That's
Field.
insane to me.
They did play at Kyle Field against Texas A&M.
Yep. But that's insane to think about, that they have never played out west anywhere, ever. Bowl games, nothing, ever, not once.
That's a crazy stat.
That's insane to me. I was like, what in the world? That can't be right. That can't be true. And I looked at it and looked it up a little bit, and it was. I was like, wow. That's just an insane thing. So I had to bring that up. I know we're not talking about those 2 sports on this, but if you are in or around, go check out the volleyball team. They have a great team. Brooklyn and Emma and Lambeau, and I mean, go check them out. They have a great team and going for an 8th straight championship. And I had to bring that up. So, all right, guys, we are going to end the show here. We will see you guys tomorrow night for our game day pick'ems on Friday night.
I was going to tell you, stay warm, Brad. There's snow on the ground. It's getting wintertime.
It's cold.
Let's get that time of
I'm
year
going to have
again.
to get me a heat lamp. I might have to get me a heat lamp around here. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys being on with us. We will see you tomorrow night for our game day pick'ems at 9:00 Eastern Time, 8 Central. And this has been College SportsCast, the Big Blue HoopsCast. And we will see you guys next week for this and tomorrow night for game day pick'ems. Y'all have a good one.